Good evening. Another Monday night chat with bees all day. It's 58 degrees here in the valley, and it's been a nice day all day. It got up in the high 60s. So I've got John Turpin on here tonight. So if anybody's got some early questions, so they can get them out of the way. Here's Sawmill Charlie. He's coming in. There he is. Hey Charlie, how are you?
All right.
And John's here tonight.
Hey John.
Hey Nancy.
I got to get a cool background.
Yeah, we've met before.
You look familiar to me, sir.
He's not a sir. He works for a living just like we do.
Reminded me when I was in the military.
So anybody got any questions for John? Come on in here and start asking questions, and let's get this party started. So Charlie, you were in your bees this weekend, right? You treated?
Yeah, treated with OA today, Sunday. Figured that it was only like 45 to 47 degrees. They were flying, but I don't know. I've swapped a nuke from over to 10 frame, and they had about 5 frames of brood and all that kind of stuff. John, you're what? Carroll County?
Anne Arundel County, Maryland.
Oh, you're in Anne Arundel. Okay.
Carroll would be easier.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it?
Less traffic. I got to visit all my hives tomorrow.
Yeah. How many hives you running, John?
A little under 100. It depends on the time.
And you're working full time.
Yes,
and
sir.
you're traveling.
I mean, yes, Sergeant. The work for a living thing.
Yeah. Now Peabody there, that's on the screen. That's Ryan. He's down in Charles County, Maryland.
Oh, Maryland?
Yep.
Peabody Apiary.
Okay.
And then Clay Bunner, he's down near Lynchburg, Virginia.
And I'm in Harford County, Maryland.
You are?
Yeah. Remember me?
Oh,
Susquehanna Beekeepers, your first live show or live presentation years ago.
You mean like 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
I wasn't the president at the time, but we got to talking at Nobby, I think last year.
Oh, yeah.
You were Jason Rubin was the president at the time.
That was my
Okay, John, here's your first question. From Queen Bee Apiaries. When and why you should use your product?
Let's start with a why, and we'll go really general. In a natural world, and I'll just stick with the probiotic in general because, when I get into the other stuff, there's a lot of different reasons. In a perfect world, you would never need a probiotic for anything. If your soil's healthy, you're eating food live with microbiota. There's lots of bacillus and lactobacillus on pollen and nectar. And all these microbes are really important for your gut. They create things to kill viruses, bacteria, to break down food, acidify different portions. And just like with our diet, when we're feeding a lot, just like sugar syrup, giving a lot of pollen sub, they're not getting those bacteria to help them optimize their gut health and create the things that the bacteria do. Also, we have a relatively poisoned environment, and there's a lot of stressors put on the bees. So a lot of different chemicals that sometimes we put in our hives, like back in the day with cumulphos and fluvalinate, different herbicides, fungicides, insecticides, they have a heavy impact on the bees' microbiome. Actually, in 2008, there was a paper that showed that a lot of the bees collapsing had a really heavily impacted lactobacillus population inside their, I forgot which part, just in their gut in general. So what we do is we give microbes to the bee. Now, these microbes aren't meant to colonize the gut. A lot of probiotics that we take aren't meant to colonize. They're meant to secrete things called short-chain fatty acids, bacteriocins, and other things to help bring the gut back to where it should be. So I know that's really broad but that's the general why, to help restore order to the gut in a world that is not optimal for it. As to when, it depends on where you are and what you want with it. For me, I use it a few times in the spring when they're coming out. I guess it's the same for you guys down there when like the dead nettle, ale hoof, and everything starts blooming. That's generally where I'll see like some brood disease pop up, and I always just feel like the bees are kind of outrunning themselves. I'll put it on then, and it will usually kind of stave off some of that infection. And then I will use it on the eastern shore of Maryland, kind of when they're spraying a lot, and that's to help deal with the both nutrition and pesticides coming in the hive. And the way I know is I usually look and like say like fourth day, like baby larva, when the brood food's kind of dry, I'll usually put on a dose and you'll see it restore. But other than that, it's hard for me to say. There's so many different things in bees.
So you're putting on what the super microbial, just the powder part where you sprinkle it on the frames, and that's just going to get their gut impulse. Is that going to change like K-wing or things like that? Or
No, it won't help with K-wing unless it's helps with other aspects of the bee that helps them deal with that. And yeah, so like we have some customers who tell me that it helps with mites, but I'm like, maybe with some other aspects, but I don't think it helps with mites either or things like that.
yeah, years ago, I think I heard that.
It might knock a few off just by happenstance of the just the powdered sugar mixture in the microbes, but there's a little bit of evidence that it can help with viruses, and that'd be the butyrate that some of these microbes secrete can pass into the hemolymph. But virus is a tricky, very tricky thing to kind of measure and see if something's actually suppressing a virus.
Okay. Why don't we go, Bill? Why don't we go through the different products that Strong Microbials puts out and what they're used for? And I mean, I'm interested in it. And, you know, I don't know all the, I know that Apis Biologic is getting in a lot of stuff, which I do use for the past several years, as far as in sugar water in the fall. I know Nancy uses Strong Microbials for the last several years there. Nancy, the beekeeper. She's a big believer in it and stuff, as far as it's is, you know, goodness for the bees and all that.
So let's, since it's spring, let's start with a super fuel. Let's go talk about that for a minute.
You mean the fondant or the super nectar that you mix in your syrup?
The super nectar.
Yeah, so our super nectar, so we worked with I don't know how much of this, but we kind of work with Andrew a little bit. We supply things and whatnot. So we took some of his product and mixed it with our bacillus bacteria. One reason, because the customers always wanted something they could mix in their syrup. There's a lot of different research papers showing Bacillus subtilis, pumilis, and licheniformis are actually on pollen grains. And there's a lot of different nuances to that. But these microbes, like in honey, in bee bread, while they're living, they're creating different nutrients like B vitamins and whatnot. So, and then Andrew's multifaceted base level is meant to make the nutrition be more like nectar, if not more so than nectar when you're mixing it in. So we're like, we'll just bring a little more of a microbial component to that to make it more like how natural nectar should be. So we mix it in there. As far as effects, I can only postulate because I haven't done a proper field study on super nectar. And I don't think I've read one on Apis Biologics, but talking to Andrew and looking at the science behind it, I would assume that it would just help with all buildup, bee health in general, which would help take disease level down and et cetera.
I mean, that's what I've seen. I had some queen issues last year, but the year before that, normally, you know, everybody talks about, let's say you have I'm running triple mediums, but normally let's say a person who has double deeps, you're going to have brood, and everybody moves up in the springtime and they're up in the top box.
Mhm.
And that's pretty much with me and my mediums. I have 2 top mediums that are full of bees and brood, and the bottom was pretty much empty. Well, the first spring after I supplemented my sugar water with Apis Biologic, I had bees from the bottom board to the roof, and I had brood from every box. And my hives were overflowing like volcanoes with bees. I've never seen the amount of production, reproduction of bees, because, and I, it had to be that. It was, because like you say, it turns your sugar water into pure nectar almost, and they don't survive off of it. They thrive off of it and everything. So you're saying what is this basilica? I mean, what is that?
Oh, like Bacillus subtilis?
Yeah, all that. Yeah, what is that?
They're just the names of microbes. Bacillus subtilis is a huge group of microbes. I mean, that's a species, and then there's like thousands of different strains. And that's kind of like, it's one that it does a lot of things. It secretes short chain fatty acids, bacteria. It's the multi-tool of the microbe world, I guess you'd say.
Okay.
Yep.
So, I mean, as far as Apis Biologic, I'm a huge fan of that and all. But so anyway, you went with Apis Biologic and combined your microbial together to put it in the sugar water.
Yeah.
Correct.
Because I was also looking at chicken feed and because I had chickens way before bees. And also when I was buying something and I saw like a probiotic for chickens and a vitamin for chickens, and then I saw a probiotic and a vitamin for chickens, I'd always buy the probiotic and vitamin for chickens because, hey, who wants to do 2 things? And for Vincent, I mean, that is true. But it's just really broad to say stressed, if you know what I mean. I mean, you could characterize that as muvinum, mite stress, viral stress, nutritional stress. And in a way, they're almost always stressed, depending on how you define it.
Yeah, I think he was just the bees being stressed after they were treated, because they do get stressed when you treat.
It's an excellent time to feed. It's just hard to define what it is. Let's see. Probiotics.
Yeah.
So the first year, I used to not think it would be okay, or as a company, we didn't think it was okay to give probiotics all winter long. And the year before last, I did a study with, and it was Andrew Munn actually taught me something on that. I forgot which nutrient it is, and it's made by the Bacillus subtilis that we're talking about. And he said it was really important for the flight muscle health that the microbe was making. And the bees in late February seemed to thermoregulate better. And so it may be beneficial to put in your sugar brick. But if you're going to do that, I would only use the super nectar. You could put the regular one in, but half of it's going to die over the course of the winter.
So that's the super nectar is a mix with your sugar water, correct?
Yeah, you mix that in sugar water. Sometimes when I'm putting frames together from a different hive, I'll kind of sprinkle it on there. The thought being the bees smell by both cuticle and by microbes. So I kind of use it to mask scents. But that can be mixed in syrup, and it is stable in syrup for quite some time until it'll go rancid. It will not, Apis Biologics mixed with us will not help keep the syrup a lot or from fermenting longer. Honestly, it could even speed it up because it's more nutrients.
Yeah, I don't know why people have that. I don't know. When I put syrup on, it's gone in 6 hours.
Yeah, it's if you have to make your bees eat the syrup or make it be extended, then something else is wrong.
Yeah.
That you need to address. And that's a good use of it, Nancy.
Yeah, Nancy like she say, she has been using it quite a bit
Yeah.
and all that.
So I started using Apis 2 years ago, and you can definitely see a difference in the bees. And now that you've mixed it with the super fuel bar and the brick, I mean, I put it on Sunday afternoon when we were checking bees, and they go right to it. There's no messing around with it. They cover it and they start eating. Just same with the bee bite bars. They cover them and start eating.
We just, so the one thing that, so I wanted, well, the new version of the bee bite with P801 in it, I want them to eat it slower, and I'm kind of kicking myself for making it be eaten so quickly because I'm trying to do it in blueberry pollination. And I was like, all right, if the bees get the dose of the probiotics per day during spring, then they're gonna be better throughout the whole thing. And I came back the next day and it was gone. I was like, ah. So one of the reasons they eat it so fast is we use dry vert sugar, which is just dried invert sugar. So a sucrose molecule that's split in half, just as the bees would naturally do with invertase enzyme. And we do that because it's we don't want to use high fructose corn syrup or minimize it because there can be potential downsides to it, and it can be perfectly fine. And it also makes a more moist patty and a sweeter patty. It's the bees like to eat it much more than just sucrose or whichever it may be.
Okay. So anybody else got some questions?
All right, so we have. I'm looking at the site. You got Super DFM, then of course you have the other. If you're around a lot of pesticides and all that,
We got the P801 in it.
yeah, the P801. The 801 is for heavy pesticide environment, I presume.
I think it might also be more beneficial with Nosema infection, based on some research. I have to do a proper field study on it though, because the microbe in that Pediococcus acidilactii, there's a paper where it can restore the balance during a Nosema infection. So not necessarily kill the Nosema, which is why it's good to alternate it with something else, like a Hive Alive or a thymol product, something that suppresses. Because it can, so you knock it, the thing is knock it back, build up, and then the parasite can't grab a hold.
Yeah, Nancy also uses Hive Alive on stuff.
Yeah.
It's a good alternative.
All right, now, so you're talking about the super nectar. That is a powder, I guess, and you mix it with your sugar water in the fall.
Your sugar water, pollen sub, or fondant that you're making. You could do a dry, no bake candy board, but not a baked candy board. It'll kill it.
I
And
mean, like if you're making sugar bricks, you can sprinkle that in your sugar bricks.
yeah, well, you could do it while it's setting up if it's like once it gets past 120.
Yeah. So Nancy wants to know about the bee bites. When would you want to put on the bee bites?
So
and then Stephen Rogers says he's only understanding half the big words. So
I'll try to think of versions that are the problem in science is a lot of times there's not another word. But for Nancy, you can put it on whenever. The bee bite, like that size, isn't going to build a colony up. So the algae in that's really good for gut health, and it's also really good as like a vitamin pill. So the size of that is meant to be both that's the prebiotic and probiotic. So prebiotic meaning feeds good microbes. Probiotic are alive ones that then convey benefit to the host is what the definition is. So those little bars are both of those. There's chlorella and spirulina. They're both really nutrient dense. Those are their algae. They're smaller than a grain of pollen. So unlike corn and soy, a lot of times it's more assimilatable by the bees. Like it actually goes into the bees instead of just out the back door, which depending on what paper you read, corn and soy may or may not just get wasted. which is half the time with anything with bees. Does it work? Does it not work? This time it did,
Yeah.
this time it doesn't.
So I guess my question is, what is the purpose of bee bites?
The purpose, my grand purpose of bee bites is to have a healthy pollen cell. And the size of bee bites, isn't enough to do that. But the purpose of that small one is to get people used to the idea of feeding algae to their bees. It might be enough to stimulate the immune system because microalgae has a stimulating effect on the immune system. A bee that is eating spirulina can then fight off different pathogens better. I don't think it's published yet, but that's out of the Baton Rouge lab in Louisiana. So it gives them a boost, and it gives them a boost without taking away their lifespan. Because usually you don't want your immune system to be jacked up by the food you're eating. That'd be like an autoimmune disorder. So to stimulate immune function, nutrient, and gut health is what they're for.
So Red Creek Honey Companies, can you feed while having pollen patties on or syrup? Also during the honey flow here in Northern Ohio.
Also you could put it's with our powder. It's really good to do it if you're feeding because you're just trying to complement them having a sterile diet to help them, digest and deal with everything going in. For honey flow, you can. It's just hard, or I usually don't because if a honey flow is going on and there's not a lot of chemicals, they're getting all the microbes they need from the environment. And nobody wants to crack honey supers. It's not that fun. And Can you have the patty on during honey flow? I wouldn't. In the case that they were to take any of that sugar and store it during a honey flow, spirulina stains everything. If it's a little droplet of spirulina in your honey, it will turn it green. Unless it's St. Patrick's Day honey, I don't know.
Yeah. St. Patty's Day honey, it's good.
Yeah, Nancy got spirulina years ago when it was just spirulina and putting it on. Then of course it kind of dried up as far as the being able to get it and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Making pollen sub out of it can be a pain. I broke a several ton machine. It took me 8 hours with a heated pressure washer to get it going again.
Yeah.
So
I know a beekeeper up north, and he actually mixes his own spirulina powder, I guess, with his pollen patties. Like you say, everything is green.
yeah. So the bee bite proteins, 15% protein, and it comes in the little bars, and it comes in a 10-pound brick, or you can get 4 10-pound bricks.
So we're switching to sliced on those,
Cool.
thankfully, because I don't even like slicing them. I don't think the customers like slicing.
They are a pain to slice, let me tell you.
What would you consider bee bites
So
sort of like a replacement of your pollen patties then?
that's my goal. I work a lot with one of the researchers. I mean, we don't work the companies don't work together because that's not really allowed, but we talk a lot. When I worked for the company I worked for before, which is Nancy had mentioned where she got them from me, and when I met you, Charlie, the first time. So he started researching it back then, and then I was into it. And that company didn't allow me to make a good product, I guess you would say. There's a lot of issues with that company.
A quality product.
Yeah, like one time I shipped it was like a half a truckload, and they were really hard. And I called my boss. I was like, "What did you do?" And he's like, "Oh, I took all the oil out." I was like, "Why did you take the oil out?" "Oh, it was expensive." You can't just take the oil out. So that was a fun ride. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of really good research coming out on microalgae for bees, and it's sustainable. It's a little expensive is the main downside, and it looks like it has a lot of other benefits such as gut health, immune stimulation. Not a problem. Hey, he said they're easy to cut.
Yeah, but Mark probably got the right tool to cut it with too.
Yeah, chainsaw.
Yeah. So
Well,
here's
are
a
you
good
trying to
question.
trying to get it in manufactured in more of a, I'll say a pollen patty form where you just, I usually, when I get a pollen patty, I take one of the papers off, put that down and have the paper up on top so it doesn't dry out on me and stuff like that. It works well.
These are
So-
so far have been pretty stable.
So Randy from Klingman wants to know, would the hive beetles eat the bee bites?
So so far in Florida and Georgia, we haven't had a problem. I keep feeding them to see if they will on like infested hives. They definitely don't get on them like they would corn or soy because beetles are attracted to that. They're not really attracted to algae. I have seen them, of course, where the beetles like to lay their eggs, where the patty is touching the bar. I have seen a little bit there, but other than that, I haven't seen any issues as like a wormy patty.
Mark says he uses a sheetrock mud tool.
Yeah. So Bill Lee, do you feed just weak hives? If so, the additives cause robbing with strong hives, or do they have feed all, or do you feed all of them?
If you're just feeding a pollen sub or a powder to the bees, it shouldn't incite them robbing. That'd be really syrup more so would incite robbing, especially if you spill it while you're feeding them. But do you guys ever have much of robbing issues?
I don't.
Never know.
I don't. I did have a hive try to take over another hive last year, and vice versa. Same hive. They were at opposite ends of the apiary. So this hive at the end went up to the other end, tried to take over that hive, and that hive went to the other end, tried to take over the other hive. So yeah,
they got bored.
They switched queens is all they did.
Interesting. Well, yeah, neither should incite robbing. Just the syrup if it's the wrong time of year and it's messy. If that happened in the spring, I'd be very surprised.
Okay. So we've talked about the super fuel, and we've talked about the bee bites. We've talked about the bricks. So what makes the super fuel? Basically, on the website, it says nectar on demand. Is it the apicin that's mixed in it that makes it like a nectar on demand, or is it something that you guys have put in it?
Well, so it's everything. We came up with a nectar on demand tagline, just because. So both the invert sugar, because of course nectar comes in all different forms and types of sugars, but the bees would break up the sucrose molecules and it'd be more like invert, and they do prefer invert with Apis biologics in there to fill in the nutritional nectar gaps, with the microbes in there to fill in what would naturally be on there, so or possibly naturally. So it's just everything together, and that's just marketing. I'm kind of more the science guy, but it's pretty good marketing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's a lot of positives to it. So I see the positive side of it, of doing it and using it. So
yeah, the more we can make it like what they would have naturally, the better. Just like with our diet,
yeah.
Any animal.
Yep.
All right, so I'm looking at the web here. The superfuel is a nutrient-rich probiotic fondant. Correct? Is what we're talking about.
Yeah, so that's fortified with Apis biologics, several of our bacillus species, and there's a little bit of fat in there too, and then invert.
All right, now you got the individual packets, are they what, like 1 pound?
Oh, with the clear plastic?
Yeah.
Oh, they're like 2 ounces or something.
Yeah, it's a 2-ounce bar.
It was the biggest we could do with that machine we had. Everything will eventually go to a more standard size. But
And 2 ounces is how many, or inches, I guess you would say, that little
That's
teeny thing?
I'd
like
say they're 6 inches long by about 1.5 inches wide.
it's like that.
Yeah.
They're really good for nooks. I like that and the bee bites for nooks. For a full hive, it's a lot of unwrapping.
Yeah, it is.
Not big enough.
Now, what about somebody that's going to start package bees? What would you recommend using this stuff on that?
Yeah, you could use that on there for sure. I mean, I would prefer to give them syrup for package bees, maybe in a bee bite to get their gut going. Just because a package bee is going to have a syrup with the nectar on there. I forgot what it's called. Super nectar. And so they get the nutrition, they're going on, but they're also going to have to build a lot of wax.
Yeah.
So just giving them a fondant is not going to help them do that unless you have a good flow going on.
Yeah. Okay.
And depending on where you are, maybe more of the protein. But if you guys, your environment is like my environment, which I'm pretty sure it is, our springs are pretty good. As soon as the Laminaceae, the mints out there start blooming, we're in good shape for a while. Till June, about.
Okay.
Excellent. Oh, 21st bee, the heavy frames.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I got mine in a few days ago. Excited to try them. I'm excited to do some curls with a box full of them.
Michael.
Just kidding, they're awesome.
All right. What about when the forage starts getting bad near the dearth or in the dearth?
So you can put it on. I personally treat my dearth period like winter, just because if I'm building bees, I'm building mites, and if my bees aren't meant to do anything else that year besides maybe put on a little fall weight, I don't want to build mites. But except for my bees that are in agriculture, I'll put it on them. But yeah, in general, I won't. It's a good time to put it on if you want more out of your bees. Let's put it that way. If you don't want more out of your bees and you want them to shut down, I don't even feed my bees in the dearth, just because I don't want to build mites.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I missed it. There it is.
If it's enriched, it would. Fondant in general wouldn't, but for EFB, I would go with the probiotic, the heavier probiotic strains, because you want the lactobacillus. What a lot of times what lactobacillus does is it will acidify like the midgut and different things, and secrete bacteriocins that kill pathogens like EFB. And there's a few good papers on that. And it's not like treating with an antibiotic, which a lot of us don't have access to anyways. Like if it's light, one dose can do it. If it's medium, you might have to do a few more. If it's heavy, you might want to have to remove those infected frames and then dose them. Or alternate with a suppression that like a thymol based or Dr. Carson's mix, which is a complete B.
So you're saying that just use the regular super DFM
Or the P801.
or the P801.
Yeah, P801 has been taking over the regular one for the past 2 years.
Okay.
At least in the commercial space.
Right.
Yeah. So, what would be the difference between the hobbyist and the sideliner using this? I mean, would a sideliner benefit from it?
They would. depending on the troubles they face. Like the thing about, or we're talking about the powder, but the probiotic.
Yes.
So the thing about that is there's areas where you'll use it in times where you won't see anything. And there's times where you'll see a night and day difference. And it's harder to gauge that because you can look at mites, but you can't look at the gut. I mean, you can, but it's expensive. You can't look at the gut in the field, so to speak. I've been on calls with guys where you could see the difference that day because what dysbiosis kind of looks like in a bee, dysbiosis is just the gut being out of whack, is they're sluggish and moving around, and you can't really tell what's wrong with them. And it's not always that because bees are bees. And usually you can see within a day. You put the dose on, and you'll see them perk up within that day. I'm sorry.
So that's a good question from 21st B. He said he was on the Hive Live stream the other night, and he asked a question, and he didn't answer it. What's the biggest difference between the Hive Live and the Strong Microbial? Is the ingredient base, etc.
I mean, so they're totally different products, and I actually would suggest using them in tandem or alternated. So Hive Alive is a seaweed extract with thymol. Thymol has a lot of good benefits in bees. For one, and for you guys who only use oxalic, you might want to use more of it because the tracheal mites are making a resurgence, and thymol can help control that. Menthol can. There's been cases in the Northeast of people having really bad tracheal mites who only use oxalic. Yeah, so I like to alternate. Hive Alive can like clean out and suppress the bad guys, and Strong Microbials can too, but it's not as a punch to the face. And then you could use Strong Microbials to kind of restore the community. I don't like the idea of constantly feeding bees thymol though, because it does shorten bees' lifespan. But just as everything, the dose is the poison. I just wouldn't do it constantly.
So DCB's is out in Washington State. So he deals a lot with winter humidity, and he said once he started using the microbial, he stopped seeing a lot of winter gut issues. So let's talk about that a little bit because we're coming out of winter now.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it can help, especially depending on how you use it. It can help suppress nosema. I don't want to say kill nosema, but suppress it. It stops them from taking hold, and restore the community to get through the winter. Well, I'm curious. I figured DCBs would be from Washington, D.C.
That's what I thought too when I first saw it on here. But no, he's from Washington State.
Interesting. There's a lot of humidity out there.
Yeah, there is.
But yes, it can help with that.
So you're saying that tracheal mites are starting to make. I thought that oxalic acid did help kill those. I heard.
I haven't heard anything about that. Amatraz should. Formic may. I think Formic does. And yeah, because there's reports in the Northeast of a lot of bees, not a lot of bees dying, but a fair bit. Well, that's a hard question. Yeah, from tracheal mites. And I thought I might have seen a little this year. How often to put on DFM? That is an extremely hard question. That's part of what a lot of my job is, especially with commercial customers, is to try to figure out when the time when you could put it on where you're going to see the most return in your investment. So I think it always does something, but as beekeepers, we always want to see, did it do enough to justify when I put it on? And for that, I would kind of you'd want to think back to your years before in the different conditions. In my mind, if you do pollination, of course, so blueberry pollination, you do it before, in the middle, and after, and you have to keep up with it in blueberry because blueberry is rough. If you're just jumping into it, I would do it coming out of winter to try to help stabilize things. I would let them go to town doing whatever they're naturally going to do. If you're going to treat, maybe follow it up after a treatment. Just to help them if it caused a problem. May not, or it may have. If you want your bees to keep going, yes, they do, Mark. And that was for the tracheal mites, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And if you want them to keep going through the dearth, if you're going to be feeding through the dearth, I would be putting it on to help the microbial level stay strong. And then going into winter. So when you're going in the fall. And that's if you're not in a chemical heavy environment. And then just look back on that and see how much, like at what point in time it matters more or whatnot, when you saw the difference and when you didn't. And then you just kind of have to figure out for yourself. Because unlike mites, I can't tell you, oh, do it when it's at this percent. It's really hard to actually test it if you don't have a lab. So you're gonna have to go on your gut a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, 90% of us in here are intermediate to advanced beekeepers, and it's called record keeping.
Yes.
And historical record keeping as well. So you need to keep up with your past records. You need to keep up so you can go back and look if you've got that question.
And if you want, do it on half your hives. And I would love for everybody to do that. I always try to get the commercial customers to do that. They never do it. Sometimes they will. But they're like, that's a lot of work.
That way you get a comparison.
Oh, yeah. Because even if it's a great year, you don't know if it was the product. Could have just been a great year.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
That's right. So we have some more questions for John.
Let's see.
I'm trying to scroll back as well.
I think.
Everybody's being bashful tonight.
Well, I could talk a little bit about some of the other stuff we're working on relating to
Yeah. What's coming up in the future?
For product wise, just the sliced patties. My boss told me to stop coming up with ideas. We need to stabilize. But so right now I'm doing experiments up and down the coast on blueberry with the patty with P801 in it, and then also different sterols. So sterols, it's like a type of fat. It's a cholesterol. It's a short chain, or it's a fatty acid, and they're really important for bee development. So, if you guys ever seen a talk, or Dr. Priya Chakrabarty, she was giving a talk and saying how these certain fungicides are affecting the bee's ability to use sterols, and not nearly as much. They will just because it's there, but they won't like a traditional patty. So with the sterols, we're adding borage oil for 24-methylene cholesterol, then algae rich in sterols to see if these bees can get through pollination better, because the fungicide is messing with their ability to use a sterol, which ruins their ability to finish their life cycle. So usually we'll see, oh, it's EFB. Is it EFB, or is it just the bee can't complete its life cycle and then whatever opportunistic bacteria is infecting it? So we're doing studies on that. And also, yeah, they look like green pollen patties. And if you send me some frames, and
yeah, you send me frames, I'll send you product too.
And,
I'm always into a little horse trading.
All right. And we're also, this is with Mississippi. So we have a soil product because we believe microbial health for everything. It's important for the soil, as below, so as above. And us, our skin, bees, the beehive, everything has a microbiome, and there's a balance to everything. So we're looking at, so when we inoculate corn, in conventional agriculture, we can generally see an increase in nutrition in the corn. And this is in silage. Our main office is in Wisconsin. There's a lot of silage. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I wonder if the nutrition in the pollen would increase. So we're starting out in cotton because that's the lab we're working with. That's what they like is cotton. And we're inoculating cotton starting in greenhouses, so dead soil versus alive soil. And then we're going to take it to the field. And what we want to see is, will the nutritional content of that plant change in living soil versus dead soil, or at least inoculated soil versus dead soil?
Now, I've got to admit this. When you first started talking about inoculating corn, when we first met, you were asking me, because I'm a farmer as well. I pictured you guys going out through a cornfield with a needle and a bottle and shooting this stuff in each corn plant. I know it's not how it works, but that's what I pictured. That's what I pictured.
Yeah, you just mix it in the cedar.
Yeah.
And coat it. Because it's pretty cool. There's a lot of.
Now, what about for hay? Because Charlie's son's a hay farmer. He raises hay.
We make a haylage product. So, like, we make silage inoculants, and there's one for haylage. Exactly how that works, I can't say I know. I don't know if you, because I know when you're making silage, you got the, it gets mixed in with the water.
Yeah.
That we're doing dry hay, worst quality hay, that kind of stuff. But okay, so as far as a regular super DFM, so you would sprinkle it on now before honey supers go on, and then maybe I'll say September, you would sprinkle it on September, October before winter sets in.
If you're in a good area and nothing pops up, if you have like chalk brood, it's really good at getting rid of chalk brood. Then I always keep some on handy just in case I see an issue that can be cleared up. The microcloud. So actually, the microcloud is maybe better at controlling chalk brood, because you're getting a more even kind of, it really pisses the bees off, and you got to carry around an air tank. But I don't think it's more effective at giving it to the bees. But also, when you're applying it to the top, you don't want to be neat. You want to be messy. Half the time I just walk down the line and chuck it in there. You want it to get on all the bees. You want them to clean it off each other, especially if there's chalk brood or other diseases. You want it to get everywhere. The microcloud, I don't know if it's better. I just know it's more annoying. That's a good enough.
So with the powder super DFM, when you sprinkle it, I've seen them, videos of it like Bob Benning, where you sprinkle it on top of the frames, or let's say your frames are covered with bees. Just go ahead and sprinkle it on top of the bees.
I usually do.
Okay.
After smoking them, though, just because I've put it on a few times, and then you just watch all the DFM fly off. So then you don't know where it's going.
So just smoke them down a little bit then.
Yeah, so it stays in the hive, because you sometimes when you put powder on and they're all boiling up and they just go.
Nancy says, "Close it up quick."
Yeah, close it up quick. Have the cover in your hand.
Now, Bill, you were putting on what? The bee bites this weekend, or the other
bee bites and the fondant bars, the super fuel bars. This weekend.
How's your finger strength?
All I do is I cut the back of the bee bite bar, I cut it down the seam, tear it open on each end, and lay it with the bee bite up. The patty down and the rest of the wrapper up. I come back the next week, pull the empty wrapper off, put it in my pocket, and put a new one on it.
It's about what I do. I made a funny video of me trying to open up with an axe, but I never put it on. An axe and then a chainsaw. Get up frame of honey. I mean, the Amatraz isn't lipophilic, so it wouldn't soak into the comb. You might have some metabolites in there. It might be like a little honey. I would either leave it out, let it get robbed if they'll rob it, or if you're using it for making splits, just throw it in there with the split. It shouldn't be any issue as long as it wasn't pooped on by the other bees or something is glaring. That's a problem.
Yeah.
You can ozone it if you're worried.
Well, who would have an ozone machine around?
I do.
I mean, we're poor beekeepers, John. We just don't have that kind of stuff laying
They're
around.
only like $100. Instead of like, you ever fumigate with glacial acetic acid?
Mm-mm.
That's a way of kind of fumigating the comb to get rid of nosema and stuff. And an ozone generator can work forever. You just make like a little plastic hut or use a shed or something, and then just let it rip, and it'll kill all your foul brood spores, your nosema spores. It might even detoxify certain fungicides or pesticides that are on the surface. At least I think it's $100. I don't know. I bought it because I had mold problems.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, like pretty bad. Never let your uncle fix your roof. We'll do 21st bee.
Yeah. How many boxes you want to send?
Product weight. I'll talk to Slava.
Yeah. See what he says.
You might want some too.
Yeah.
I'm excited to try those. Those are really cool looking frames.
Yeah. They're cool looking frames. I mean, you can't get around it. They are.
Yeah. It might not go to California.
True. So are you pollinating blueberries in Georgia, or were pollinating blueberries in Georgia, or where are you pollinating at?
They're not my bees. I was with a few commercial guys down there in Georgia. Sort of doing it in North Carolina. All the time frames are kind of mashing up. But the next big one's going to be New Jersey. That's where we're going to try to take brood data, which is the worst. We're going to take a picture of every frame of brood. And if you know the Nectar Technologies, they're an app where you scan the hive and everything.
Yep.
That beekeeper who they have, I think, 20,000 hives, they use them. And, of course, the company doing the study, everybody's like, hey, they're going to do whatever. So what I want to work out is I scan the hive, then I can upload the pictures through the app and then have whatever software analyze what they see.
Yeah.
And then then it's more kind of third-party verified data.
Yeah.
As a company, we could hire, like everybody's like, hire a university or somebody else to do this study. It costs 10 times more money to do that. It costs a lot of money to get a third party to do these things. It's like $100,000 versus like $5,000. Last time my trip was at the same as Hive IQ.
Yep.
Have you met Nate?
Yep.
He lives 20 minutes from me. So we were going the same way to the same path. So we just went camping, saving money. So if you're hiring a university, you don't have that luxury. Save money by camping.
Yeah. Excuse me. So who else got some questions?
Anybody? And see you 21st bee.
So you talked a little bit about what's coming up in the future. I mean, is there more stuff coming?
On the bee side of things?
Mm-hmm.
Product-wise, just research. and figuring out, like, I want to know exactly the time period as much as I can that the product will protect prior to exposure. So, like, how far before being sprayed will it help? I want to retest Nosema with P801.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff I want to do. I want to do a proper yellow jasmine trial, which for us, most of us here don't have to deal with yellow jasmine. It creates a compound called gelsamine that poisons bees. It's more of a problem South Carolina down. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff I want to work on, but we always give discounts. Just give me a call. I'll give you one. I mean, wait, me or
John?
Oh, this is gonna get awkward.
Yeah, it is.
I never give discounts. Only go Bill. Legend 15 for Charlie.
That's my
Yeah,
that's what they call me, the legend. I don't know why, but
both of us.
Bruce down there in Georgia, he nicknamed me that, the legend, for some reason.
Randy, I've always got something going on.
Yep. I think we dropped down to 4 times a year to be more fair to our distributors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not over 20, I believe.
Yeah. So, Randy, give me a call. We'll see what we can work out.
And coming out of winter is a good time.
Yeah. Free delivery. That's asking a lot. I could sell you it at regular price and give you free delivery.
Nowadays.
The
Coming out
shipping
of
costs more than what the product does.
Yeah. Especially on the prepared ones, like the fondants.
Yeah. Now, Cajun Homestead is in Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
He's in a subtropical climate. And so his winter is very short. But I tried to get him to come in here so he could talk directly to you. But, you know, he has his issues down there too. So being in that type of a climate, does it make any difference as to what you use and when you use it?
So our product is used a lot in Louisiana, mostly among actually a lot of different people. Is Cajun Homestead more of a static beekeeper?
Yes, he has about 75 highs.
Yeah.
And he sells nukes.
So it's always hard for me to say. I know more of the commercial side in Louisiana, but I also like. So there's a guy in West Virginia, and I told him the product wouldn't do anything for him because he lived in the most pristine area ever. And then he called me. He's like, "Oh no, they were all sluggish. I put it on. They're doing way better. It's working great." I was like, "Okay." Because in my mind, I generally just think of pesticide environment because I think of pollination and really high stress environments.
Now, when you say bees are sluggish, I mean, what are you physically seeing, or
It's like it's like a feeling. You know, when you look at a beehive, you looked at them so many times, and you're kind of taking in all the cues, and they're just not as fluffy. They're moving a little differently. Maybe not as fast, and they kind of don't have that shine about them that I can best define as fluffiness. It's just,
Yeah.
I wish I could figure out how to define it like scientifically and then measure it for an experiment, but it's just like a look about them. They're just not moving right.
Yeah, they walk around with no purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a whole bunch of things you're just taking in over the years, and
Yeah.
shine, fluffy. Everybody has their own. it helps restore that. And what that always is, it's always hard to know.
Yeah.
And
Like I was telling you earlier, I was in my bees this weekend, and I can look at a wooden hive and I can look at my Enel hives and I can see a difference in the bees. And the difference I see in the bees is the bees that are in Enel hives, they have a brighter, shinier eye than they do in the wooden hive. I don't know if that has to do with the difference in the temperature that they have to work to keep the hive in the wooden hive versus the Enel hive. I don't know what that is, but I do know that that bee with that shiny eye in that Enel hive works a hell of a lot harder to forage than the bee in that wooden hive that has to work harder to keep it warm. So are the wooden hives overworked? I don't know, but I noticed a difference in the bee sometimes. So
yeah, it'd be interesting to try to peg it down.
yeah, I mean, it would.
With good vibes.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, for Louisiana with no winter, it's well, they still kind of go in a state of dormancy, but at least from we have the cards down there and some other customers, and he said the reason they moved down there is almost something is always coming in.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful spot.
Yeah.
So I usually main thing I look at is the fluffiness, and then also just the brood food. That's another always a really good thing to look at. If it looks wet, if it, you can just tell by looking at it. Is there a lot of brood food? Or the bees nutritionally well off? The first, all right, it's dry. Do they have pollen or bee bread stored? If they do and they're still dry, then that's when I give it to them.
Well, Randy got another good question. Super DFM 801 work against fungicide sprayed on soybeans?
The easiest answer is I don't know. We know that in different, like in soybean, that it seems to help them. So the pediococcus, so what certain fungicides do is they turn off the bee's ability to use, it's called the cytochrome P450 pathway, and it depends on what fungicide. So the probiotic kind of turns that back on, is what the research looks like it's saying. And it's the way it kills the fungus. And so when that pathway is turned off in a bee, and we have the same pathway, which is scary, so stay away from boscalid. That's the name of a fungicide, which I don't know if that's the one in soybean. Then everything else is so much more toxic to the bee. So it gets hit with the fungicide, and then maybe then it gets in contact with a neonicotinoid that they coated the seed with or whatever. Then that neonicotinoid, which originally wasn't deadly to the bee, now is deadly to the bee. So it may or may not help. It's hard to say.
So here's the extra thermal mass makes it, they're way nicer than they are in wooden huts.
Yeah. So you're a Enel dealer?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Your buddy came by and left me a hive.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to set it up at the store. And that way I'll have a comparison. But everything I'm reading about quote unquote styrofoam hives, the bees don't do well.
I just know my chickens love them. So I don't use them. I think they're food.
Yeah.
What were you reading about that?
Just different articles I've found in ABJ and bee culture on them, and talking to people that have them, that they have not done well in them.
Interesting. I was trying to convince him to drop me off some to test. But for that,
I'm not saying don't do it. I've got to set mine up, but give it a try. Tell them to drop you 1 or 2 off.
For the neonics, we were just talking about fungicide insecticide interactions, how fungicide can make neonics more deadly to the bee by turning off the detox system.
Yep. And now it depends on what kind of soybeans you're getting. So because some of these soybeans are already coated in a fungicide as well on the seed. So it's already in the ground when they put the seed in, and it just comes up with the seed. So
Yeah, but with the soybeans, I mean, yeah, they might have some tiny blossoms, but I mean, I've gotten into debate where, you get nectar out of the soybeans, and I'm like, I know you're not. I got 30 acres next to me, and my bees never did squat with them.
There's a study out of Ohio showing that it depends on the variety. I guess they bred the trait out of them.
Probably because it takes more energy out of the plant instead of putting it into the seed.
Yep.
Like that.
Norman chickens are monsters.
Yeah, they are. They're little monsters.
So it sounded like to me what I need to do is take some regular super microbials and just kind of sprinkle it on and see if I see a difference in the bees.
Yeah, do it on half and let me know.
Yeah.
First dandelion.
Yep.
Where's Flower Street?
He's out in
Colorado.
Okay.
He's out in Denver.
I feel like they'd be behind us. Right, starting. Yeah, we still got 2 weeks yet on dandelions.
I don't know. I'm starting to see some pop in the field out here, which is good. I mean, but we put 3 or 4 tons of fertilizer down here in the field too, so that always helps.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But okay, I'll have to do that then. I know Bob Bidding showed on his videos that he had started putting super DFM. I'm not sure what it was, the 80P or whatever P it was.
No, he gets the regular.
Huh?
He gets the regular.
Gets the regular. He said some of his commercial friends swear by it. I'm not sure just whether it was because of the chemical type or just the regular type.
It was for European Foulbrood. The guy who referred it to him. He used it exclusively for that. One of the things we want to do as a company is use microbes instead of antibiotics. Even I would like to get into the fungicide and pesticide realm because there's different microbes that you can use instead of using those. But there's also really big players involved in it. And we're kind of a little company.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, but you're growing. That's the thing. You're getting bigger.
It'd be a fun adventure for sure.
Yeah, it would be. Well, John, thanks for coming on tonight. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
We've had some good questions, and
thanks for having me on here. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. You've seen some old friends, made some new ones.
Oh, yes.
So
I've met a few people here.
Yeah. You need to come by the store next time you go south.
Oh, I do. I got to take the long route next time.
Yeah, there you go.
Gets in your bones, I got to switch it up.
Yep, exactly. 95's a pain. Randy's wants samples now. What kind of samples you want, Randy?
Hey, Tom.
Okay.
Yeah, Tom's a little late tonight. Seriously, Randy, what kind of samples you want? Talk to me.
Yeah, we have chats every day. Oh, we'll do.
Yeah, there's chats just about every day of the week.
Marketing.
Charlie's on Friday night. Nancy's on Wednesday night. I'm not familiar with Tuesday, and I think Bob Walker's on Tuesday nights. He was on Thursday night. Joey?
Randy, shoot, can't think of his name. He hadn't been on for the last couple of weeks.
And then
Mine's
Saturday.
intermediate to advanced beekeeping. I mean, Ian will stop by occasionally.
Yeah.
Stepler, and I got a lot of fair amount of Canadians, and this core group here comes in.
In Missouri.
Uh,
You please go ahead.
and I mean, it just kind of depends on what we're talking about. We talk about most anything, Queens, what's happening in the bee world and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, stop by.
A lot going on this year.
Saturday night is who?
That's Joey Rawls. That's
Yep. And then Sunday night is Brad, isn't it?
no. Sunday night's usually Tim and Hannah. I don't really do a whole lot on Sunday nights.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we do this
Ricky.
night a week.
Ricky Rourke is on Thursday nights, which is horizontal bees is what it's called, because he was at Nobby last year with the horizontal hives that were all painted up and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you've seen that or not. He wasn't there this year because he was out of town. But all that. But like I say, if you want to stop by on mine, it's Sawmill Charlie's Bee Farm on the YouTube channel. And it's 8:00.
Yeah, I'm always on Monday night. Charlie's always on Friday. Nancy's on Wednesdays. So, we're here. Nancy starts at
6:30.
6:30. Charlie starts at 8. Mine starts at 8. So
pretty much everybody's at 8:00.
Yep.
I'll try to make it in some of them.
Yeah.
Huh?
No, I said I'll try to make it on some of them.
Yeah. Okay.
That'd be good.
And definitely visit. And I don't know if I'll visit you 21st B. You're kind of far. Well, I might go to Missouri, right? I might go to Mississippi next month to sample bees. Which is kind of
That'd be good. So, yeah, it's been good having you on here, John. It's just, it's always good to have some kind of a guest every now and then to keep the conversation going and keep the questions coming.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, thank you for coming, John. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
We'll
You
see.
can hang around if you want. It's up to you.
What goes on now?
Nothing. Sit around and talk.
We talk about bees.
They're 3 weeks behind in Georgia.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I'm getting my packages when I'm getting them.
Who do you get them from?
Gardeners.
Oh, okay. I didn't stop by him when I went down there.
Yeah.
So we'll bang.
Yeah, I'm supposed to go, I guess, this coming month, go down to Hardeman's, get a truckload with a friend of mine.
I don't think I know them either. Hardeman's
Yeah.
in Georgia?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of guys in Georgia.
Not too far from Vidalia, Georgia, or the Vidalia.
Okay. That's by Wilbanks.
Huh?
By Wilbanks?
Yeah.
Or he's in Claxton.
Yeah. Well, Clacton is a little bit south, and they're more west of Vidalia, about 15 miles, and all that. But they have, I don't know, 6,000 or 8,000 hives, something like that.
Do they have another name? Oh,
Huh?
I was just asking, do they have another name? Because I stopped by a operation that fits that bill. What were you saying, Bill?
They're
So, do you do any queen? You raise any queens?
Not recently. A few years ago, I did, but I just don't have the time for it or the attention span.
You're young yet.
Shaking hands.
Well, I'm gonna try to get back into it this year and start raising queens.
Yeah.
I was trying to look them up.
Oh, that's okay.
Arguments?
Mm-hmm.
This was a place with just the most generic name, and it was just west of Vidalia.
Yeah, it's
Where the no life be. Yeah, Georgia looked pretty good when I left. And oh my God, it was that freeze, the dead nettle in the
Yep.
fields, South Carolina, Georgia. It was beautiful.
Hardeman's is in Mount Vernon, Georgia.
Right.
And then there is a lot of operations in Georgia.
Yeah, there are. There's a lot of them.
all right.
So Tom, you're late to the game tonight. So do you use strong microbial stuff?
Maryland?
He is. No, he's out in Ohio.
Oh, no, I was answering. John, where are you from?
That wasn't the question I was trying to get. You got away from me.
Hey, Carl.
There's Brian from Castle High. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
I just got off chatting with Grayson, and I looked over to see who was on here, and I see you on here, and I'm just like, oh man, I cannot let him steal all the thunder.
Oh, gee.
You mean they let you out of the Caribbean?
I mean, I'm peeling like a lizard. So
You don't even look suntan.
that's because I would hear I'm dragging that box over here. That's because I was putting on SPF 50 like 8 times a day. I got a little fried the one day we were out on this island, and I could feel it. And when we got back to the hotel, I looked and it said the UV was extreme, and I'm like, well, yeah, extreme because it cooked me. So, but yeah, I mean, my arms and that, if I go like that, all you see is skin. So
Floating in the air.
I'm not like John there though, the world traveler, and
Yeah.
So I'm living to be like him.
So how long were you in Mexico, John?
It was 4 days. I had to propose to my girlfriend's family. I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, you have to propose to all the dad, the mom, and her, at least them all together.
Do you go on a honeymoon with the dad? I'm confused here.
No, or do you have to?
Let me send you the video.
Or do you have to ask the father whether or not you can marry her?
Yes, and the mom and all together.
I did that.
Separately or all together?
They were together. I did that. But now, by the time when I went over and asked, for her hand in marriage, we had already had 2 kids. We did things kind of backwards.
Yeah, it was a little late.
Yeah, that's what I say. Those are minor details, So yeah, so will the dad? Yeah, will the dad marry you?
Oh my God, I hope.
That's awesome. Congrats. I just sold some of your bee bites the other day to I forget who it was. I don't know who it was. They said, "Where'd you get those?" I sent them the website and said, "There you go."
Well, thank you.
So, yeah. And I did on some, was it Charlie? It was on yours where you guys had me eating it.
What's that? The bee bites?
Yes.
Yeah, bee bites are
You
good
see
for
what
you.
kind of crazy stuff we do, John?
Yeah, bee bites are good. Watch, he's gonna break one out now.
Well,
You
he
watch.
is. He is. I could go
It's
over
in
there
the
and get that.
basement.
You don't have any with you, John?
No, I ran out of my snacks, I guess.
I can go get my big box up there because I got some.
You want to see
Yeah,
if you
it's
can finish
good.
10 pounds first?
It's good.
No, because I'll be sick.
He will be pooping green.
I would. Tomorrow at work, I'd be like, "Can you guys hang on a second because the green monster is about to happen again."
Are you going to do a second live stream then?
What, tomorrow?
Yeah, when the green monster's coming.
No. Charlie doesn't want to see that. Oh man. Good stuff. Well, I just wanted to pop in and say hello. I'm gonna listen. But
Listen, Miles, you're allowed to stay on.
You could stay here.
Yeah, I think
it's been a long day.
It's been a long day for all of us.
Yeah.
We all been working.
It's been a long day. I had to wake up early and get a couple hours in at work, and then I had family stuff. My gosh, I lost a second uncle in 8 months' time. So we had all the family, funeral and family stuff today. So I worked early, went and did all the family stuff, and then I rushed home and had work meetings. And then I was sitting there tinkering a little bit, and then I looked and I thought, oh crap, I got to hop on the live with Grayson here in a little bit. So I've been all day, but yeah, I'll listen though.
So what's your experience, Brian, with these bee bites?
They devour it.
Yeah.
I mean,
And when do you put them on? As far as
I put it on in the fall, and the candy bar sized ones, or the snack bar. I don't know whatever size you want to say that is.
John snack bars.
we made it on a granola
Yeah,
machine.
the protein bar. I'd give them their protein bar, and they would devour it. I mean, literally, there would be nothing left. I'd go back a week later, gone.
Yep.
So-
Even wrappers clean.
And so 2 of them, it was kind of sticky in the wrapper, and I thought, heck with it. So I just cut it open and I set the wrapper flat in there, and I thought they'll just clean it out, and I'll just pull the wrapper out. Another one, I was able to get it out. It kind of come out nice in a piece. So I set that there. But yeah, literally, they'll lick it clean.
Yep.
So they take it, and I have been using last summertime, I was using the DFM. So, and then I switched over later in the season and threw the bee bite in. So, but I mean, if they didn't like it, they wouldn't take it. So, they do eat it. So
Yeah, they do. They go right after it.
yeah. I've got that box up there with it now, so I've got enough that I can, when I'm out there, I could say, okay, a little bit for that colony, a little bit for Brian, a little bit for that colony, a little bit for Brian. Yeah. Charlie, have you not used them?
No, I haven't used any of it actually. I got a bag of regular Super DFM,
Oh, okay.
and I don't know. It's all new to me. That's why I'm asking.
So it's different than I was. I'm trying to think of what day it was. Last Thursday, Greg did a chat with Dara, Hive Alive.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody they asked, they said, "What's the difference?" And I said, "They're 2 completely different products." With the microbials, I said, think of it like you're improving that gut health because you've got the different cultures. What is it? The lactobacillus. I forget all of them that are in it. So, John, I'm not representing your company very well.
Sorry, you can say them all, nobody would understand it anyway.
Right. But it's basically those cultures that improve the gut health of them. So it's different. Where the Hive Alive, you've got what? There's some thymol, there's the seaweed extracts, There's a little bit of what lemongrass, I think they said in it.
Hmm.
It acts differently. So,
Yeah, look at that more. And Dara said there was an experiment. I don't know if it was on ours or an Italian version in Italy where they used Dara's product and then a probiotic, then Dara's product and a probiotic for nosema suppression, and it worked pretty good that way. So knock it down, build it up, knock it down, build it up.
oh wow,
You gotta,
Yeah.
okay.
No, I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, I've been using Apis Biologics since it kind of came out on the market a couple years ago, and I with that putting in the sugar water in the fall, and that 2 years ago, the bees were coming out stronger than I've ever seen them before, as far as brood rearing, like Ian would say, where he would put the rocket fuel in to boost up the hive, and I mean, that I see. So if am I going to see some type of significant something when I put, they say the gut health. I know Nancy has used it quite a bit over the several years, and she also uses Hive Alive too. And they say it's gut health. Well, does that really translate into, I'll say, bee production, honey production, bee growth? That's what I'm kind of trying to get at.
if so it depends on the degree that the gut is degraded. If it's in a completely degraded gut, that hive will never do anything. It will probably eventually die. And because they can't make vitellogenin, just like in us, if we have dysbiosis, you can't digest your food hardly. You're not going to make a lot of the vitamins. A lot of the vitamins that we use are made by our gut microbiome. A lot of the hormones that we use to regulate ourselves aren't made by our bodies. They're made by, or at least the precursors are made by our gut microbiome. So the whole gut-mind axis is, years ago, it used to just be a hippie thing, but it's coming to be very solid science. So and whether or not it's going to make a huge difference in your bees depends on the gut. So if you guys know Umberto Boncristiani, he does Inside the Hive.tv. When he worked for University of Florida, he did an experiment on DFM. First time he did it, there was no difference. Second time he did it, it was night and day. Maybe they were spraying for mosquitoes at that point. Maybe it was something else. Something was in the environment that actually caused the problem that needed to be fixed. So that's why I'm always, especially because I'm more the science side of things, that's why I'm always very shaky with my answers. Like, well, it kind of depends. Because it does. And
if
overall,
you think, though, if you think, though, too, Charlie, think of, like, if your gut is just destroyed, if you've been sick and you've had antibiotics and your gut gets destroyed, what do they tell you to do?
Eat
yogurt.
Yogurt, yeah.
Yeah,
So
your probiotics is what you're doing.
Probiotics. You're restoring your normal flora. So similar concept for the bees with the strong microbials. If their gut is destroyed, they're not going to be healthy.
Yeah.
So
all we're doing is just giving them a form of yogurt that they can handle.
Bee yogurt.
That's all we're doing.
We should rename
I want to see a product come out called like Beegurt.
Yeah, Beegurt.
Actually, I want to take the leftovers from our tanks, because right now we have to pump them into the field, and dry that down. Maybe we can call that Beegurt, because
Beegurt.
What you want from the microbes is everything they create. And we have everything we create, but we just need a spray dryer. And
Beegurt.
That'd be very good. Beegurt. And it'd probably be sour.
You could dry it and you could sell like Beegurt strips.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Good.
Oh well. Well, gentlemen, I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna still listen though. So I am gonna go relax.
So what about this year you spent following the Grateful Dead?
I don't know what Philip's talking about. I was never a deadhead. He said, tell us about the year he spent following Grateful Dead. I was never a deadhead. So Yeah, and what Philip's saying there, Charlie eats so much popcorn, his digestion is always in hyperdrive. You know what
You
Charlie
didn't have any popcorn tonight, did you, Charlie?
No, not yet.
what Charlie does is where he has his bowl of popcorn, he puts DFM on top of his popcorn.
There you go. Yeah.
Makes
Uh-huh.
it go down smoother, huh?
I mean, you know, it goes right through.
Yeah.
You know, Charlie sounds like a machine gun the next day.
Nah.
Oh, geez.
No, I just, I mean, like everybody here in the room tonight, we're all looking to get our bees to for me, it's production and honey production, and you were saying that what's it called, the telegenin in that? I should know what that is. That's the
It's like the master protein, the precursor yolk protein, what they call it.
it's more. They use that in rolled jelly and that kind of stuff, correct?
It directly translates it to it. The proteins in the rolled jelly are what's it called? Something.
But what I'm getting at is
I
it's
forget.
super DFM. If you throw that into the mix, brood might, like you say, be more wet.
Yeah,
not
wet.
wet.
Yep.
Better food value in that rolled jelly and stuff that they're
Mm-hmm.
eating.
Yeah.
The bees.
Well, that and so there's in bees with a compromised gut, there's hardly any vitellogenin expression or creation. But then also with like the bee bites, there's really good data showing that, especially if you take chlorella and spirulina and mix it together, it makes really good vitellogenin production. But just spirulina alone does not, because it doesn't have the fat. Because to make good vitellogenin, you need a good fat source. Chlorella has a better fat source.
So the bee bites are throughout the year type of stuff, an addition, or
Oh, yeah, you could do it anytime. I would say late summer when you're building winter bees is probably the best going through there.
I'm looking at like if you're grafting and you want all that nice
Yep.
Yeah,
heavy duty jelly, so you can, when you're grafting, it's easier to graft. I mean, I've seen it where you start out at the beginning and you got pools of jelly in there, and you can pick up that larvae very easy.
and
then as time progresses, you get less and less jelly, and then it's almost impossible to pick up your larvae and not drown it or whatever, and put it to a cup.
Say which again?
Ag?
I think it means again. But yeah, I just sent some down to a queen breeder in South Carolina, a few 100 pounds, and he was saying, well, also he's in yellow jasmine territory.
See, Mark Miller's up.
He's queen breeder.
He's
Oh,
queen
yes.
breeder out in Kentucky. He works with come on, Ryan, what's his name? Out there in Michigan or Missouri. Corey.
Corey, yeah.
He has Corey's breeder queens and stuff for the last.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
See, we breed queens too. So
The bee bites help support the better jelly, I guess. I'll say better nutrition for the larvae or whatever, and maybe
they should.
the production of it.
Yeah.
Until I do I'll probably try to do a study where I can weigh it, but the research would say that they should, because it builds good vitellogenin, especially the spirulina and chlorella mixed together. That's why we put both of them in there.
yeah.
A varied diet is a healthy diet.
All right, so it sounds like to me I could take your bee bite, throw it in the hive that I like to. I got one hive already picked out that I definitely want to graft out of. It's very strong. It's relatively calm. And it looks, it's got the population in the springtime, and it's got the gentleness that I like to see. And hopefully it'll produce a lot of honey too.
Yeah.
That'd be a good place to try it out. I know the little bee bite probably nutritionally wouldn't be a whole lot for that, but it would help add on to what's coming in from the environment, since we have a pretty good spring flow starting.
Well, talking about the nutrition side of it now, John,
Mm-hmm.
would it be better to go with the 15% instead of the 4?
If you're trying to build up, yes. I eventually want to put a little more algae in there, but
Okay.
yeah, if you're trying to build up, yes. But the protein and that is completed with just yeast. So we have spirulina and chlorella, and then yeast, because we didn't want to put any corn or soy in. And yeast is also already microscopic, so it doesn't need to be ground down like corn and soy does.
Mm-hmm. But I was just thinking that 15% might, if you're going to breed queens, if you're going to start grafting, and you want that nutrition source there for them, the 15% might be better.
Oh, definitely. But I mean, if I was just saying, if you already have a lot of pollen flowing in, then just a regular bee bites would be fine, because you're not needing to pump it up.
Yeah, I mean, their pollen's coming in pretty strong here now.
Right.
Just started and all that.
Well, when you get the machine to roll them out to the bigger patties, if you want a place to test them down here.
Yeah, I need to drop you off some.
Yeah, you do.
Actually, while you guys are chatting, I can run in the basement and grab some.
All right.
They're not in their final form, but I can give you a general.
Brian, you check your bees lately?
What day was it? It's been in the last week. They looked okay, but we've been cold now. Like we're 44 degrees right now.
I know what you mean. It's 47 right here, right now. And it was a whopping, I think, 57, maybe 50, 55 today.
Yeah.
Light rain throughout the day, which we do need to rain. I'll have to say we needed more rain than what we did get. But the heavy rain went south of Baltimore.
Yeah, we didn't get anything. No rain at all.
We're supposed to have Wednesday is the last day that we will go below freezing in the next like 2 weeks. I looked, and Wednesday it's supposed to be like a high of 44 and a low of 25. Then after that, Thursday we go into the 50s, a low of like 37, and then we've got days like in the 60s and stuff like that. So I think it doesn't look too bad. There was one day in like the next 2 weeks where the low was like 35, but it's not, that's not really that much of a concern. So, but
I mean, it's like, next week's the last week of the month, and last year and the year before that, I had honey supers on. Everything was demo-reed, ready to rock and roll.
Yep.
And I switched this nuke over to 10 frame. I had 5 over 5 deep, and then a medium, which was more or less a honey super.
Mm-hmm.
The top deep was 5 frames of brood, and the bottom deep was just more or less empty. And I switched it over to 10 frame, and I got, let's face it, it's not even any sense in looking at that high for a couple of weeks or more.
Yeah.
I'll probably I need to check the forecast and see when I go over, because I had a couple people tell me in my last video, they're like, you should put pollen patties on, with that weather coming, you could keep them moving forward. And well, I would have put them on if I had any. I ran out. So, and I didn't realize that I was out of them until when I went to look, and I'm like, well, crap, I don't have any.
Where are you at, Brian?
I'm Northeast Ohio. So I've got some ordered. They'll be here. I got the shipping confirmation, so they'll probably be here Wednesday. So the next time I go over, I'll have them. So that'll kind of be the start. And then I've been like I already pulled my insulated inners off. I just wanted to get those off. Our temps aren't cold to the point where I think we need them. Yeah, I could have them on, but
I did the same thing. I pulled the carpet off.
Yep.
Here, we had that week's worth of pretty nice weather.
yeah.
Prior to that, I did see one day of a little bit of, I'm going to call it maple pollen coming in.
Mhm.
And that weekend, I was going to put some more global on there with rocket fuel. But
Yeah.
since I seen that, I said, okay, that next week is all going to be warm, and my maples are going to pop.
hmm
They were all budded for quite a few weeks.
Yeah.
So I did that, put the stuff away. Yes, they budded, and then here any flight day that I had, like yesterday was an okay flight day. Pollen's coming in.
hmm
So as far as pollen patties, I mean, I'm done for the year. I fed pollen from the last probably Saturday or Sunday of January through February.
Wow.
They were taking a half a pound a week. And
Yeah. See, it's weird because we're like,
I got 20 pounds from Nobby, and they were like gone. Then Bill
longitudinal.
sells it. I got another 40 pounds from Bill. I think I fed about another 10 pounds out of that.
Wow.
Yep. I've still got pollen feeders up, but they're not touching them because I got plenty of pollen coming in, and I'm pretty sure there's nectar coming in with it because they're starting to pack stuff in the empty frames.
That in February, I was putting some sugar bricks on, and
We had snow here.
really, yeah. Well, I had some.
Winter's been This winter's been crap.
And February here has been pretty cold. I mean, usually it's mild. So I think if in past years we had a mild February, we had a much better buildup of bees. And then by the end of March, I'm ready. Things are warmer, and we were supering and getting, we weren't having a flow, but we were some bit of a trickle. And this year we had a cold January, a cold February. Buildup is building up, but not as super strong as it has been.
Mm-hmm.
And right now it's like, I got a lot of hives out there that are really strong. I got one there that I just need to take a nuke and transfer it and drop it in, because the queen that's in there, she ain't no good. And then I got another nuke there that I put in place in the middle of the winter time, and she's the one. Maybe once it warms up, she will do better. But right now, she ain't setting the world on fire.
Yeah.
And other than that, I mean, it's pretty much the same. I did drop. I got my Pro Suite out, my tote of that, and everybody got 2 quarts of Pro Suite to kind of just get them over a hump until the flow's starting a little bit.
Yeah.
And I got one hive that's my one I want to breed off of. Now they suck down a quart every 3 days on that thing. They got 3 quarts of that stuff in there. I'm like, okay, you guys, that's enough for you. So they're brooding. I mean, I have not been in them. I haven't did a deep dive hive into the hives, because I'm, like you say, one day it's warm, it's 65, 70 degrees, and the next time it's 38.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't want to break the seals right now.
Yeah. So what do you got, John?
Oh, I got right here. So these are handmade at the moment.
That's a bite.
Artisanal patty.
That's the bee girt.
Yeah, the bee girt. So this is the 15% with P801 in it, which can survive in it for like a month. Well, Slavin thinks 3 months, but I'm always the pessimist and he's the optimist. So this is what we're testing in blueberry pollination, and hopefully we'll have a more easily accessible version. We are, I think, from starting now on, only As soon as the blocks are gone, we're only going to sell sliced because nobody wants.
That's more like a pollen patty, right, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, 15% protein, algae. It actually tastes really good. Oh, yeah, good for your bees. I wish you guys could munch on some right now too. It's delicious. There's actually a little anise oil in there.
Yep.
Ooh.
I could see Charlie. It almost looked like he had saliva dripping down off his chin. Because he's thinking, oh man, if I put that stuff on.
That'd be like have a little bit of dip right in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep. He's going to microwave that and drizzle it over his popcorn.
There you go.
Yeah. You thought you saw Charlie dance before. Oh,
he would really be going if he gets that 15% protein in him.
He'll be cutting a rug.
I need
Literally.
there, I'm awful.
Oh man.
Sluggish.
All right.
Here.
He's breaking out the popcorn.
Well,
Nah, I'm filling up the one bag of stuff here.
you guys, it was good talking. I'm gonna bounce out. John, it was good talking to you.
Hey, good seeing you, Brian.
I'm sure I'll run into you somewhere.
Yeah, if Greg has an event, did he have one this year?
No, last year he didn't. He's talking about it this year.
Yeah,
It'll probably be later in the year, like last time. So
I hope so, because everything is crazy until Maine blueberries. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was talking about it. We haven't. He's crazy busy. But he has mentioned that this year he wants to do another get together like that. So
roasted goat.
Exactly. Yes. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Go down by his pond down there.
Oh yeah.
That
Charlie can bring some popcorn and stuff the goat with it.
Exactly. You could just
whatever that open house that Greg had that time.
Put the kernels in it, and you'll know the goat's done when the popcorn pops.
Going?
Yeah.
It sounds like a plan.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
I never heard of
it. I'm sure you'll hear if he does anything, you'll hear about it.
What you guys must be Arab.
Oh, it's delicious.
What, goat?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever eaten goat.
Oh, really?
It's good.
I've never had goat.
Yeah, more like a stuffed pig or.
So yeah, I've been to a few pig roasts.
Yeah,
so.
Goat's good. There's nothing wrong with eating goat.
I don't know. Give me some roast beef.
It's just like roast beef, except it's a little bit stringier.
Yeah.
Flavor.
Yeah, it's good though.
I don't know. Oh well.
Especially if it's cooked low and slow.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's how you cook everything.
The classic birria is with a goat.
Yeah.
Birria tacos.
You guys take care.
You too, Brian.
I'll be listening.
Looks like you wore out, Brian.
I'll be listening. So when Charlie starts talking about my beekeeping and stuff,
Brian,
I'll be like,
let me clear something up right now.
Charlie, I pick.
I know that, but I really, it's like your situation is like, all right, what's going on there? It just really makes me think about what can we do for you to help you figure out what the problem is.
I bought a damn microscope so that I can examine some of the guts on my bees to check for spores.
Did you only use oxalic?
No, I used Apivar early in the season, oxalic in kind of the middle-ish. I used Viroxan later then. I would usually use Apivar again, but I thought, well, let me try the Viroxan. And last year, my mite counts, John, 3 was my highest wash. I washed more bees last year than any other year that I had.
Did you hear about people who mainly use an oxalic-based one, like Viroxan and the other, have a resurgence of tracheal mites?
No.
It was some places northeast this year. You guys lost a lot of bees.
Yeah, I never heard.
Also with the Viroxan, there's a lot of people reporting that the Viroxan strips are burning brood.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
so I will tell you, wherever that Viroxian strip touched comb,
Yep.
it was gone clear down to the plastic foundation.
Yep.
Well, that's kind of like Aprovar, where they dig around.
Uh-huh. So
Well, I can tell you something right now. When it comes to Aprovar, you just forget it, because
Yeah.
I participated in the National Honeybee Survey this year for the second
Mhm.
time. Got my results back. Now, I did it 3 years ago. My thing is July, August is Aprovar. Then I would do Formic Pro 2 strips in September. And my state apiarist, who's the head of the whole state of Maryland, came out, tested, got my results back 3 years ago. This is after Formic Pro. My infestation of mites was a 0.2. All right, this year she did it on the 6 weeks of Aprovar being in the hive. And then as we're going through the hives, she says, "Are you going to back this product up with another product?" I said, "Yes. Monday is Labor Day. It's supposed to be low humidity, low temperature. I'm putting in Formic Pro 2 strips." She says, "Good, because we're starting to see a lot of mites in the drone brood on top of the bars and stuff."
Huh.
So I got my reports back from the laboratories and all that stuff. So now they did it on a 100 bee count, and it was 3.5 or something mites per 100 bees. So I was like almost 11 mites out of 300. And
Huh.
I'm like, it's like, that's way out of unacceptable. And then I, hit them with the
Wow.
Formic Pro. And I mean, after 6 weeks, and that's kind of mite load you got, and then I do OA through the winter time and all that. And my stuff is pretty darn low. I mean, I got like at the end of December, after 5 treatments of OA, I do it about every other week throughout November through December. And I got far as not alcohol wash, just more or less mite, because I'm not breaking the hives open at that time of the year. I got it to where I clean every time before I would do it, clean off my Coroplast whiteboards. And it got down to the point at the last year I had 0 mite drops in the hive. Of course, it does have less brood and everything too.
Yeah.
So far, so good. I did do an OA vapor treatment because it's been cold. I didn't get in there February like I normally do. It was really cold. I like it 45 degrees when the cluster is loose. And so I got in there at 45, 47 degrees Sunday. And hit them again. I did clean the boards off, so I got to get out there tomorrow and see what kind of a mite drop I have. See if there's much of any of them. So I don't know. I've lost. I mean, I know that Bruce Steiner said it. He said it on last night that they did a resistance test from the Georgia Bee Lab.
It was good.
And it was good.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the test is good, but maybe, I don't know. It's
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know whether that little test is actually going to really dictate on what the bees are actually, how they're reacting to that product anymore.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Oh, well.
You're talking about Amatraz?
Yeah, Apivar.
Oh, okay. Not what.
Amatraz
Commercial, Amatraz.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, regular VNUP Farm or whatever it is puts it out.
No, yeah, I mean what a lot of guys use. That's all.
Oh, you mean the homemade stuff?
Yeah, the homemade stuff. Amatraz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do any of that.
Well, Charlie sticks by the book.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking about the losses.
Somewhat.
I think that wasn't.
When it comes to OA treatments, I do what works.
Yeah.
I think what did I use on mine? What the heck was it? 2 of the blue caps. Remember when they told us that the blue silicone caps were 2 grams.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, 2 grams, nope, I'm going to double it. So the blue caps, I mounded it up on it when I put them in my Larabis. The blue silicone caps are 5 grams. And I heaped it, so I probably hit my colonies with 12 grams of pop.
Still shouldn't have any problem.
No, there was no issue. So
I bet you didn't have any mites, so did you?
that was a good year.
Yeah, I bet.
Think about that, Brian.
I fogged the entire yard up. The trees.
I mean, when I do mine, I mean, I take styrofoam insulation. I got these strips already pre-mounted. I put them in the front entrance. I got little wooden wedges that I make the coroplast go as tight as possible. And then when I blow smoke in them, I get very little seepage. I'll get 90-95% inside the box.
Yeah.
And I would what you heaped up there, I have no problems. Maybe not quite that much, but
a lot.
About 3 per hot box. I would recommend.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, I'm out.
All right,
Night, Brian.
we'll see you later.
I'll see y'all.
Hey, Brian.
Later.
I'll see you guys. John, I want to see you eating more of that stuff.
I'm gonna finish this.
I'll see you guys.
And I'm gonna jump off too. I gotta get up early.
All right, John.
Yeah, it's almost 10.
Yeah.
All right, John. Good to talk to you again.
Good to talk to you too. Bill carries all of our stuff at his store, Shenandoah. And if you have,
I'll be going down hopefully the end of the month.
Yeah.
Not this month or April for a class.
Yeah, I'm having a queen rearing class 26th, 27th of April. Or the 25th, 26th. Whatever
then
that
I'll
weekend is.
there, what was it, a month ago or more, I guess. I helped teach down there a little bit.
and if anybody has any questions, always feel free to call our line. You're not going to get somebody from India. You're probably almost always going to get me. And yeah, we're always available. If you have any questions, we'll help you out.
All right, John.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. And y'all have a good night.
Like I say, if you got time, jump on Friday night with me if you want.
Yep.
All right, we'll do.
All right.
All right.
Good night.
Thank you. Now.
Night.
There's a lot of good questions.
Yeah. A little more clarification on what
Yeah.
different products do
Yep.
and all that. I got that bag of Super DFM. I don't know. The weather just has I have not been feeling all that energized, I'll say. So
Yeah.
I have not been. I also have not really been in, digging into the hives. One thing I did do, we were talking about putting a super foundation on and with a queen excluder, and I did the one strong hive that I want to graft from. It's really strong population. I went ahead and dropped that on there, but I don't think it's going to do anything. I think it's cold. I think they all want to hang down there tight with the hive and keep everything warm for right now. I don't think there's enough nectar really coming in. And all that. And that's about it as far as I've done anything in my hive except for treating for mites. I'll go out there and see what I don't normally treat with the amount of brood is in there right now, but since I missed February, I figured, well, it can't hurt.
Yeah.
Can't
hurt.
Anytime you can knock back the mite load.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, just everything there, Tom and Melissa. We just had super microbials on here and all that.
Yeah.
But, so from what I gather, you got super microbials for gut health. Then you've got, super fuel, which is a mix for your fall sugar water, correct?
Yep.
Fall or spring.
And then they have the bars as well. Super fuel bars.
And the super fuel bars is a fondant with Apis biologic in it.
Mm-hmm.
And
then
then you have the bee bites, which is kind of like a pollen patty with what do you call it? Seaweed,
Yep, spirulina.
spirulina, and something else in there that helps them.
Yep.
That sounds like I say, that might be something I wouldn't mind trying right around the time I want to graft, where
Right.
it lots of rolled jelly in the grafting frames.
Yep. Because the nutrition is important. So
Yeah,
that's 4%. And then you have the bricks of 15%.
right. That's the pollen concentration in there.
Yeah.
Well, he'd say, if you got natural pollen coming in, which we do,
Yep. Yeah. And the bee gert.
what's that?
Flower Street said, don't forget the bee gert. Bee gert.
Yeah, I'm not quite. Was that stuff out of the tank or something?
Yeah.
No, I'm just, I don't want to waste my money
No.
on stuff. I just want to, I've seen some things that are just sort of wasteful.
Yes, there are some things out here that are wasteful.
I really do like, since I've gotten the global patties, I like the moist softness of that patty.
Yep.
And then having Apis biologic in it, I'm hoping that helps with the bee brooding up, especially in the springtime.
Yep.
I've tried Man Lake's products, and I'll have to say this. I did put them on, I'll say probably a little bit too late, and this year was probably my best year when it came to dialing it in on when to put the fondant on, or not the fondant, but the pollen patties and the sugar bricks, and when to stop it, and not waste your money there too.
Yep.
And then I normally don't feed liquid either in the spring. I did that this year.
Yep.
Yeah, DC, I like them too, DC. And then, and let's see what else. I did the Pro Suite this spring. That kind of gives them just enough extra fluid in there to you use while the other stuff is starting to flow from the trees.
Yep.
And like I say, I do have the Apis Super DFM right now. I presume if it gets a little warmer or whatever, or maybe this coming weekend it's supposed to be pretty decent out. Maybe I can go in there and kind of smoke the top of the bees down and just sprinkle that in, and we'll see how it works.
Yep.
And all that. See if it helps them improve or whatever. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well,
for me.
Well, it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
I've got a lot of stuff going on tomorrow.
There's Mark here. He's feeding super fuel fondant right now on all the ones that will be building cells here soon.
Yep.
Okay, that's the fondant with the Apis in it, right?
Yep, that's a brick fondant. Yes. Yep. So, well, everybody, I do appreciate you coming out tonight and spending time with us. I hope you all got some information from John that you can use. You can either order directly from Strong or you can order from me. It's your choice. We appreciate you coming out, and have a be good day tomorrow.
Yep, and everybody hit the like button. You only got 6, and there's 48 of them in there right now. It used to be about 60.
Yeah.
So
So tonight I had 21 likes. So if you're new and you need to subscribe, don't forget to smash the subscribe button on your way out so you can get alerted to new videos and lives when they come out. So we will see you all. Don't forget about Nancy on Wednesday night at 6:30 and Charlie Friday night at 8 o'clock.
yep.
Y'all have a good week. And
We'll
we'll
see y'all later, guys and gals.
see you on the next one. Good night.